Hello, everyone. It's Heather. Okay, it's late at night and we're in our hotel.
It's about 10 p.m.
It's about 10 p.m. The hotel is pretty busy and full.
Yes.
She told me the only room, I will add this, when I checked in, I couldn't use the app, long story, problem with the Marriott system. But she told me that the only room she had left was on this floor, on floor 4. Okay, we had just arrived. Megan and Ben went down to get some hot beverages, hot chocolate.
No, I got coffee.
Ben got
It's
coffee.
Water.
Is it decaf?
Yeah.
Yeah, I made sure
Okay.
you chose the detail.
So anyway, Megan just asked me to kind of review a situation that they found themselves in and to give her some tips or great
Notes on how to
notes
improve.
on if she needed improvement and some situational safety awareness that could be helpful to anyone, but especially to women traveling. So she's going to tell you the story, and then I'm going to add a couple suggestions that I gave them. Nothing bad happened, just so you guys know.
No, nothing bad happened. Good evening. So to begin our story, Ben and I have just finished fixing our drinks. We are about to go back upstairs. It's kind of a small, cramped little area between the drink station and the elevator. There's a family, a mom, dad, couple kids, I think, family, going into the elevator before us, so Ben and I hang back and just let them go first. There was an older man, maybe about mom's age, walking kind of slowly in the direction of the elevator because he was moving slowly because he was looking at some paperwork. And I wasn't quite sure if he was planning on going up in the elevator. But by the time I realized he was going up in the elevator, the family had gone and we had already pressed the button to go up. He did get in the elevator with us. I have watched videos on this before, so I went straight to position myself right by the control panel with the buttons in case I needed to press the call button for help or press any button just to get out quickly.
Right.
And I stationed myself there and stayed right there close in the corner, and Ben put himself right near me, behind me, and I pressed my button first. And I realized pretty quick maybe I shouldn't have done that and I should have waited to press my button.
Yep, we'll come back to that.
I did notice he kind of glanced at the buttons before he spoke to me, but I asked him, "What floor are you on?" And he said 4, which is also the floor that we're on, and we had already pressed the button.
So that kind of gave Megan a little bit of alarm because, and so I'll interject here. She had a couple options she could have done. One is they could have just backed away and not gotten in the elevator at all. Don't ever feel bad if you decide you don't feel safe getting in the elevator with a stranger.
No good person is going to care.
To care. We all had to go one party per elevator all through the pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
That was actually expected.
Yeah.
And so nobody's going to think it's odd if you step back and just say, we'll get the next one or whatever.
Like when we went a few minutes earlier, just up to our room normally with all 3 of us, there was a family behind us as well, and they did wait.
Yep, they let us take the
Before they let us
elevator
take the
and they
elevator.
waited for the next one.
Yeah.
So nobody's going to think that's weird. Nobody's going to be offended. Her other option, this is one thing I said she could have corrected. If you're ever in that situation, she did the right thing by stationing herself next to the buttons. What I would have done differently in that situation is before you push your own floor, ask the other people in the elevator, don't give up your spot. I mean, and sometimes people just reach right across you and push the button themselves.
Yeah, they do.
Okay, which is fine. But if you need to ask them because you're by the buttons what floor they need to go to, ask them their floor first before you push the button for your floor. So, maybe the guy had said 6 or 3 or whatever. She could have pushed that button first and then pushed her button. So that was the only thing I would say she could have improved on there, because she doesn't know if he chose 4 because he's really staying on 4 or if he chose 4 because they were going to 4.
So then as we were in the elevator, it's kind of a slow elevator, so I did have time to take reconnaissance, I guess, just in case. I remained by the buttons, but I turned slightly outwards so that I was facing the door, the buttons, and kind of the guy could see everything out of my vision at once. Ben, I would say, was closer to the guy. Ben stood very close to me, and then the other man
Ben is tall and healthy and intimidating looking enough.
He's wearing a black jacket.
Yeah, so I mean, was Ben bigger than the guy?
Ben was much taller than the guy. He was a pretty short, stout guy.
Okay, so, yeah.
Bro, I could take him.
He could have taken him.
Yeah.
I don't doubt that. Ben could have taken the guy. But he was closer, and the guy stood back in the elevator and totally leaned and slouched against the wall like this. So he was putting himself in no position
As far away from you as possible.
to, like, be near us.
And then Megan did point something out. They did actually have, if
Because-
they needed it.
But yeah, because we'd just gotten these boiling drinks from downstairs and hadn't even started drinking them yet because they were so hot, I realized, like, if I had to, we could splash our drinks at the guy and use it as a weapon, essentially.
Right.
Sucks for him, but if we needed to get away.
Now, keep in mind, folks, we're not in any way implying that this man was a bad guy or anything.
I think he was a perfectly normal dude.
Yep, we're just giving you a scenario so you can
compare it to maybe
think about some things that you want to keep in mind for your safety if you were in a bad situation.
Every time I'm in a situation, I'm just walking along. I think of, like, if this specific thing could go wrong, what would I do?
Yeah.
Just for safety. It's good for a woman traveling to think about it.
Right.
But anyway.
When you got off the elevator.
This is what gave me a little more alarm.
Yep.
We got off the elevator. I was kind of waiting to see if he would go first, but he didn't. He waited for us to go first. So we did, and we just walked very confidently off the elevator and walked around our corner. The hallway splits in two directions, very different directions. And I noticed right away, I glanced back, that he followed us down our side of the hallway. And he was following pretty close on our heels. And that made me really uncomfortable. So as soon as we got around the corner, I remembered or noticed that there was, like, the ice area, little room that you could duck into.
I actually filmed it, so I'll insert it in this right in
Perfect.
this spot.
Great, thank you, Mom. And so I just said to Ben, just loud enough, I guess, that the guy could hear.
Yeah.
Or it seemed normal. Hey, Ben, come check something with me quick. And we ducked into
The vending
the
and ice
vending
room.
area.
Yeah.
And we stared at the vending machine. I made a comment about the mist twist. Stood there for a few moments. Jeopardy song played in the background. And by the time we stepped out of that area, the guy was far enough down the hallway that I felt safe enough to continue. And he went into a room pretty quick that was farther down than our room. And then we came and went into our room.
So that way she knew that he couldn't see what room they went into. So that is also a very good tip, and that was smart thinking on Megan's part, to use the vending area as a way to get the guy in front of them.
Yeah.
So he couldn't follow them.
This guy could have been perfectly nice and totally just tired and wanting to get back to his room and
actually-
wishing they were walking faster, but
I'm actually not unconvinced he was just a hotel employee, because Ben and I both noticed that he was wearing a shirt with, like,
a logo.
text on it or a logo.
Yeah.
We just didn't notice what it was.
But
So
why would an employee be going to a guest
I'm
room?
actually not sure it was a guest room, because I didn't see the room he went
Oh.
into. Could have been an IT room or something.
But I can tell you, I did used to work at a hotel, and I was a night auditor. So I worked at night alone
Oh, fun.
by myself in our small town where we live. Now, granted, the restaurant was usually open past midnight, and then the restaurant would have to bring me their receipts for the night, and I had to audit their books too at the end of the night. And then I also audited everything from the day from the hotel. But that would only take me about half my shift. And so from, I don't know,
1 a.m.
1 a.m. until 7 a.m. or whatever, I was all by myself in a very quiet hotel. Quiet as can be. Very rarely did anybody come talk to me or the phone ring or anything like that. It was very tempting to go into a guest room that I knew was empty and lay down for a while. But we were expressly forbidden from doing that.
Nice.
So, because obviously they don't want their staff falling asleep and then somebody comes to the front desk and nobody's there. So I doubt that if it was an employee, I don't know why he would be going to a guest room if it was a guest room. But Megan brought up just a really good situation here for safety when you're traveling. And I mean, obviously the two of them were together, but they're young. He could have thought they were like a young couple or something for all I know. Or twins or whatever. Yeah. He had no way of knowing that I'm here.
Well, and if something had happened to us, Mom would probably know right away because we just went down for drinks and we
Right.
should be back in just a few minutes.
So anyway, but these are some really good suggestions that Megan brought up. Whenever you're traveling, whether you're male, female, young, old, whatever, the key takeaway here is situational awareness. You want to be aware of your surroundings at all times. What's happening around you? Who is around you? You know, that kind of thing. So no matter what travel situation you're in, but hotels are especially important. And especially if you're ever by yourself and you're traveling alone, you want to be aware of who's around you and not let people follow you and see what room you're in. That's why the girl at the front desk here was very good. They're never supposed to say if you don't know this, the hotel front desk clerk should never be saying your room number out loud. She actually held up the card. She had the keys in this little envelope, little Marriott Bonvoy envelope, and she held it up like with both her hands around either side like this, so she was blocking anybody who was standing near me from being able to see our room number. And she just waited for me to nod and acknowledge, got it. You know, I know what.
And then you did the same thing for me so I could see the room number.
Right, yep. I held it up to Megan and she nodded to me, got it. So we knew we were both where we were going. You don't ever want to say your room number out loud. The front desk person should never be saying your room number out loud. And they know that. If they do that, they didn't get trained right. But anyway, I hope this video was helpful to you.
Thanks for watching, everybody, and safe travels.